At this point in the season, fantasy football managers are finding themselves in a lot of different spots. Maybe you have the top seed locked in. Maybe you're so far out of the playoffs where it doesn't even matter anymore. But there are a lot of you out there who are fighting for playoff seeding and even a playoff spot in general. So today, 18 different players and whether you should be starting or sitting them in week 13. And yes, if you are a loyal listener around here, we are bringing you this episode a day early because this would be dropping on Thanksgiving otherwise. And we know you all are going to be already watching football and gathering with your loved ones on Thanksgiving. So we're bringing this to you on Wednesday. As always, we'll start with the running back position, do our starts and sits, do the same for wide receiver, and close out with some quarterback and tight end streamers as well. Cameron, RJ Harvey gets the Washington Commanders this week. This is becoming a defense that you pretty much lock in whatever running back is playing them.
Yeah, I know RJ Harvey is very thankful that he is playing against the Commanders.
Way to start off strong with the theme.
Since week 4, this is what the Commanders have given up rushing yards to running backs each week. 126 to the Falcons, then 75 to Chargers. O'Marion Hampton got hurt. Then 133, 145, 106, 76, 217, and 169 rush yards last week. Or not last week, week 11. They were on bye last week. They have been getting run all over. And this backfield for RJ Harvey is his now. 61% of snaps before the bye because J.K. Dobbins is now, is he officially on IR or is he just out? Yeah, he's officially on IR. Saw 11 carries, saw another 3 receptions. That efficiency's only going to get better against this Commanders team. Doesn't sound like Jaden Daniels is going to be back. It would have been crazy if he was going to be back, but sounds like he's going to be out again. So Marcus Mariota against this Denver defense, probably not a great offensive showing for the Commanders in this one, meaning more rush attempts for RJ Harvey. This is pretty much just, I think he's going to get the volume, and he's playing against a bad defense, so you start him up.
Yeah, the only defense allowing more points per game to running backs over the last month has been to, no surprise, the New York Football Giants, Ty. Anything you want to add for RJ Harvey here? Because, yeah, I have no gripes with this whatsoever. He is pretty much locked in as a guaranteed top 20, borderline top 15 play for me.
Yeah, this week is going to be interesting to see if RJ Harvey is kind of goal line guy or he gets majority of the third down snaps. Like, coming off the bye, it'll be interesting to see exactly how this backfield will look, just because the first game that we saw RJ Harvey as the lead, it was only on a week of practice, so you could only kind of piece together what you could. Maybe coming off the bye, we get kind of a more complete workload for RJ Harvey, and if that happens, the RJ Harvey shares will be jumping for joy. That's for sure.
Yeah, there is potential for what is called the post-bye rookie bump that many of you are well familiar with. Even though it's later in the season, yeah, there's definitely potential here with J.K. Dobbins out for RJ Harvey to have himself an explosion game against the Washington Commanders. Before we go any further, though, I keep bringing this number up week over week. It is still 82% of you who watch our content, 81.9 if you really want to be specific with me, who watch our content but aren't yet subscribed to our channel. So let's take a moment and change that quick. Hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell as well, so you know when all of our newest content goes up. You don't have to sit and wait for it or search our name every time it comes up. Not only are we providing you the fantasy football insights that we're using to literally beat each other in our dynasty league. We literally just talked about it before we came on in our redraft leagues as well. But we want to remind you of the fun and camaraderie that comes with the game of fake football that we all love. It's one of the easiest ways to support us. It's 100% free as well. I hope you'll join us here on our channel week in and week out as we bring you fantasy football content. Ty, I'll move it over to you here. This is an interesting one to me. Woody Marks against the Indianapolis Colts this week is your start.
Yeah, not a super high ceiling with Woody Marks this week, but I feel like just because of opportunity, he is he's someone that you can at least consider putting into your lineups this week. Since officially taking over the backfield in week 9, Woody Marks is the running back 39 on running back 19 usage. So the performances haven't been there, but volume and touches have been. So I'm just going to follow usage in this one because in that same stretch, you got the Indianapolis Colts, who have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to the position. Granted, that's on the back of a ton of rushing touchdowns that they've allowed. So the question that you can ask is like, well, does Woody Marks fall into the end zone? I don't like those chances, but here's the outlook that I have for Woody Marks in this one. Either Houston is competitive and this stays in a neutral game script, and that's where we see the work, or that's where we see the carries. And again, maybe on the off chance that he falls into the end zone, it's a worthwhile week. Or Houston is chasing points, and that's when we get Woody Marks involved in the receiving game. So, like I said at the top, not a super high ceiling this week, but I feel like Woody Marks kind of is comfortably between that like running back 20 to 25 range for me this week, just because of the opportunity that he has.
I think my big concern with Woody Marks is that since week 5, we've only seen 2 running backs go for more than 60 rushing yards against the Colts. One of those was Kareem Hunt last week, but that was on the back. I was on the back of 30 carries, and he averaged only 3.5 yards per carry. And then, of course, the great Bijan Robinson went for 84 yards against the Colts in week 10. I'm just not convinced that Woody Marks absolutely 100% needs to be in my lineup this week, Cameron. Where do you sit on Woody Marks this week?
So my thing is, I'm wondering if teams are kind of figuring out what to do against the Colts, and that is if you can play good defense, you just run the ball over and over again, right? It doesn't have to be efficient, but you're forcing then Daniel Jones to have more limited positions and be less of a game manager and have to go make plays. We saw that what the Chiefs did over the second half last game of, hey, we're going to keep running the ball. We're going to keep grinding it out. We're going to trust, Mahomes then down the stretch to make these plays. And when Daniel Jones needs to make one that counts, he tried to throw 2 interceptions in a row. So like, I'm wondering a little bit if that's the game plan, but efficiency has not been there. And that's what I worry. But on the other side, efficiency hasn't really happened against its Texans defense through the air or on the ground. So maybe it is just a grinded out game. I don't know if, like you said, Lucas, I don't know if he needs to be in your lineup, but I also don't think he's a bad start. I think he's, for me, in one of those spots of, hey, if you are looking between him or like a Tyjae Spears or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Then yeah, I'm far. Like I think he's the best of the
meh plays this week.
The rest.
Yes.
Best of the rest.
Yes. That's where I would put him. Yes.
I know we're going to drop our rankings in our Discord tomorrow. Ty, have you done a preliminary sweep through your rankings? Where is Woody Marks in your rankings?
Running back 24. So
okay,
he's like right on the edge of starting. Or if you got better options, I'm not going to complain, because again, I understand that the Colts matchup isn't the most ideal, but again, I just see opportunity here with Woody Marks because of the volume that he's been getting the last couple of weeks.
Sure, yeah, and as I did a quick sweep through, I haven't actually put in my rankings yet. Mentally, I'm looking at Woody Marks falling somewhere between like the running back 24 and the running back 28 range, probably. So again, not a guy I'm like ready to force into my lineups, but if I'm in like a 14-man league, obviously, then we're looking at Woody Marks as potentially a starting piece this upcoming week. You probably don't need to be told to play Jaylen Warren, but he plays the Buffalo Bills this week, and the Steelers' run game is actually very, very hot right now, and you have to keep riding the wave here. The Steelers have rushed for 148 yards per game in their last 2 weeks. That's been the 6th best mark in the league during that stretch. The only defense with a higher EPA per rush allowed than the Bills this year, again, to no surprise, is the New York Football Giants, which, again, should surprise nobody. But teams are finding success running the ball against the Buffalo Bills. And if you want to keep it out of Mason Rudolph's hands, you give it to Jaylen Warren and you give it to Kenny Gainwell. That's what you do. And if you can successfully continue running the ball against the Bills, I see no reason why Jaylen Warren isn't once again a top 20 play in your lineups.
My only concern is that
the Steelers are getting walloped.
Yes, and Kenny Gainwell's been the receiving back as of late,
yes.
And it has factored in more. So that would be my biggest concern. I don't think that Gainwell's by any means taken over this backfield, right? We still saw Warren with 18 carries last week. So as long as they can keep this game competitive, then yes, I think he's a start. But I do think that I want to throw in that caveat of if it does get away from them, he doesn't really have that receiving role that you were kind of hoping he'd have at the beginning of the season.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at Kenny Gainwell this week. I honestly don't mind if you got to throw him in your flex this week. I think you could do a lot worse at your flex spot than Kenny Gainwell against the Bills this week. How are you kind of playing that balance, Ty? What do you feel about that?
I think I'm going to have Warren. Like if I were to place all my running backs into tiers, I think I would have Jaylen Warren and Woody Marks in the same tier, because I just see them as both kind of game script dependent plays this week, where they do need the game to go a certain way in order to, have a decent week in fantasy, kind of like to what Cam was saying, right? Like if the game gets out of hand, you're going to see more Kenny Gainwell than Jaylen Warren. But I don't hate Jaylen Warren this week at all. I think again, with the matchup against the Bills, and knowing Arthur Smith can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to running the ball, I don't doubt that Jaylen Warren is gonna get like completely like phased out of the offense, and that's extreme, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we're looking at Jaylen Warren for sure as like a mid-tier RB2 this week, but then Kenny Gainwell is definitely, again, I think he's very firmly in the flex conversation this week. If he's going to be involved in the passing game and takes a little bit of the rushing work off of Jaylen Warren's plate, as well as I don't want to say he's like still nursing back his ankle injury, but he's getting enough at this point to be considered in flex territory in a plus matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Running backs to not play this week. Let's turn negative here. Cam, Tyrone Tracy. Odds he catches another 40-yard pass this week to really just pad out his day in fantasy.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about him breaking one in this one. He's, especially if, I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to be back yet. I don't know if it's Jameis. I don't know if it matters because New England has been really good against the run this season. They're allowing the least amount of rushing yards to opposing running backs. They did, I will say, just give up 107 yards to Chase Brown, which was a little bit out of character. But for what they've done since week 5, or really the entire season, I'm expecting this to be more of the anomaly. They've allowed 3 running backs to have over 70 rush yards. They've allowed 6 running backs over 60 rushing yards. We're in week 12, or we're going to be in week 13. We've played 12 weeks. So in half of their weeks, they're holding opposing teams' running backs to under 60 rushing yards.
I was going to say, you better be talking about total teams, because I'm looking at the game log here. Sorry, not to interrupt. I'm looking at the game log. They've only given up 1 rusher more than 60 yards this year. I'm like, where are you pulling these numbers from?
No, this is entire team.
Rusher.
Yes. Yeah, this is entire team. So they are dominating against running backs, and Tyrone Tracy hasn't exactly been the picture of efficiency this season. He is no Cam Scatterbo, if you will. Although he has been pretty decent the last 2 weeks, but that's why I think you're maybe considering him after 17 and 16 PPR points these last 2 weeks. Going this week, I'm not expecting him to score a touchdown. I'm not expecting crazy 50, 60 receiving yards in this one. And I do not think the rushing yards are going to be there.
Yeah, with 0 teams on bye this week, I'm guessing you have either better running back options to choose from, Ty, or better wide receiver options, or dare I even say like better tight end options than Tyrone Tracy too. Like one that I'm thinking about, you playing Mark Andrews or Tyrone Tracy this week? Random thought I just had. Yeah, against the Bengals, who are just like giving up a historical amount of points to tight ends this year. I digress. Ty, where are you at on Tyrone Tracy? I assume you're very out as well.
I'm out. Another tight end name that I just thought of, like if you have Tyrone Tracy, or you're thinking about playing around the world Gadsden. I'm playing Gadsden, like for sure, without a doubt. I really just have 0 interest in this Giants team at this point. Like you still have to consider Jackson Dart a starting option. You have to consider Wan'Dale just because he's the leading pass catcher here. Theo Johnson can be a spot start at tight end as we get into the later half of the year, but like none of them really excite me. If that's probably the way to say it. Tyrone Tracy just kind of feels like a guy that's getting volume because they need a guy to just rush the ball for the sake of rushing the ball to keep defenses honest. There's not much happening here. I just go ahead and leave Tyrone Tracy on your bench this week.
Tyrone Tracy or your sit of the week, Ty, DeAndre Swift. Not to make you choose, but it's a bad way to start off talking negatively about a player when you have to say I might prefer my player, but roll with me on this one.
I would still roll with Swift, but it's a lot closer than I want it to be probably this week. Last week, Kyle Monangai outsnapped DeAndre Swift, which is a big change. And he also outsnapped him by a wide margin on early downs, 25-14. So Ben Johnson was okay giving the rock to Monangai. DeAndre Swift did fumble. Yes, I know. So maybe the punishment was served in the game, But I've just got question marks moving forward now that what if like the game plan was to get the backfield closer to 50-50 and then the fumble just reinforced it and Monangai just got some more work on top of it, right? If that's true, that lowers the ceiling for Swift. And now you throw in a matchup against the Eagles on the road. They've allowed the 10th fewest rushing yards and the 10th fewest yards per carry since their week 9 bye. There's just too many unknowns for me right now with DeAndre Swift to feel comfortable starting him. You may have to start him just because he is such a big name and he has been coming through for you so far. But I would just really lower your expectations then at that point, because the outlook for DeAndre Swift now for the rest of the year is not as clear as it was the first 12 weeks of the year.
Yeah, you are getting a drive-by-drive basis here, or drive-by-drive rotation with both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. And it just so happens against the Steelers, yeah, it was Monangai's drives that were being sustained a bit longer. So you did see a lot more Kyle Monangai on Sunday. I don't think that means DeAndre Swift is absolutely cooked necessarily. I don't think Kyle Monangai has outright overtaken the backfield from him, Cameron. But yeah, in a game against the Eagles on the road, I hope you have other options to consider outside of DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Ben Johnson has a deep hatred for DeAndre Swift, and so I think that fumble was just an excuse to put him on the bench. No, but I think the fact too that Monangai has 3 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks is just another reason why would be okay moving away from Swift, especially in half PPR leagues. If you're in a standard league still and haven't talked to your commissioner about making the change, then yeah, I think I'm moving away, because that it would be the saving grace for DeAndre Swift is receiving work, because he's not an overly efficient running back, right? He had those 2 games out of the bye that he was awesome, but he also was playing the Saints and the Commanders. So it's kind of like, yeah, you were really good, but you're playing them. Now you got in Philly. Good night. Yeah, I'm not overly excited about starting Swift in that one.
On prime time as well,
Yes.
where people are going to be coming out to Philly. And
Caleb Williams show, baby. DJ Moore. Yes.
Yeah, Caleb is going to get absolutely like run out of the stadium by all the stuff that Philly fans are going to be talking to him.
Well,
that's going to be
batteries at him.
Oh man, I'll keep us moving. I don't want to sit in Philly hate. So instead I'll go to Seattle, where the Minnesota Vikings seem to have a football game literally every single year, despite them not being on the regular rotation most years. Look, Seattle's front 7 has just been so good this year, man. They're holding running backs to only 3.4 yards per carry. Only 4 teams have beat them for more than 70 rushing yards this year. And when you have a team like the Titans last week, right, who can't move the football on offense, you're going to get 11 for 20 days like you got from Tony Pollard. And I think that's exactly what you're worried about here for Aaron Jones. Now, I will say the silver lining in all this is that the Seahawks have been gashed by running backs through the air this year, top 5 in yards, targets, and receptions allowed to running backs. I just purely don't have enough confidence in Max Brosmer to think it actually makes a difference who will be starting over JJ McCarthy this week. At this point, it seems like it's confirmed that he'll be starting over JJ McCarthy this week, who's in concussion protocol. I still think you're going to need like a 6+ reception day from Aaron Jones in order for him to even hit flex consideration. Like, that's how worried I am about the Minnesota Vikings offense. And that's how much I'll say like confidence I have in Seattle's front 7 slowing this Vikings run game down.
I don't know if I've had a time where I've been home watching football and purposely not watch the Vikings game. But this week at 3:00 might be that time.
Easy to turn off. Yeah.
Because it was ugly last week, and just the narratives that are going to be coming our Vikings way about Sam Darnold probably lighting us up and beating us after we let him go, and our rookie quarterbacks not be like, I just don't want any part of it. And I agree. I think Aaron Jones is going to, I think this whole offense is going to struggle on this one. I don't think it's going to be pretty. Little teaser to my sit of the week at wide receiver. It's another guy in this game. It's JSN, but yeah, I just
the wide receiver 1. You better not play him this week.
Do not. It's a trap. It's a trap game.
They all want Sam you Darnold. To think it's a revenge game for Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's going to do it all on the ground. He's going to have 6 rushing touchdowns against the Vikings. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with this Vikings offense at all.
Ty, is Max Brosmer the next Brock Purdy?
Oh gosh,
Maybe Brock Purdy of Monday night this week.
That's how I knew I needed to get off Twitter as soon as I saw that.
Yeah. Did you mention offensive line stuff for the Vikings as well?
No,
we
but
haven't
that's
talked
another big
about
part.
that yet.
That's another big part. Cam just elected to make jokes instead of talking about.
That's where it was supposed
It's my
to.
defense mechanism.
Yeah, so Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, both sustained, had injuries. It's so weird with this offensive line that it's honestly like it's to the point where you're even considering sitting the stud of this offense.
Oh no, it's in conversation.
It's that bad. So I got no interest for Aaron Jones. Really, all Vikings probably. It's best to avoid them this week.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Underdog, where you can get into the game this season playing Pick'em. It's extremely simple. Just pick higher or lower on 2 or more of your favorite players. For example, I'll pick the highers on Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Xavier Worthy. If I played $10 and got all 3 of them right, I would win $60 just by watching football. And that's the beauty of Pick'em. You can track your picks and your wins while you enjoy the game. Now, if you're not on Underdog yet, scan the QR code on your screen or use our code FELLAS when you sign up, because new customers will get $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5 on the app. Plus, Underdog will give you a free pick to use in your first entry. Again, that's code FELLAS over on Underdog. Now let's get you back to the rest of the show. Let's move it on to the wide receiver position now. We'll get back to starts. I like talking about starts. I think it's easy to talk about bad matchups. I think it's fun to have confidence in guys like Christian Watson, Cameron, who get the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I will say too, if you're watching this video on Friday or Saturday, you can skip to the next chapter in the video, right? You don't have to watch unless Christian Watson did really good. Then watch, listen, bask in the glory. If he did bad, move on, pretend I didn't say
Help
it.
Cameron victory lap is what he's saying.
Exactly. Like, I want to hear it in the comments if he did really well. If he didn't do really well, then just let's tone it down a little bit. Christian Watson has been getting more volume over. I mean, I shouldn't say more. It's slowly moving up. He had 4
right
for 3 games in a row, 4 targets, 3 games in a row, then 5, 7. So naturally, he should have 9 targets this game, which is awesome. And he should see about 6 receptions too, if we're just following the math. But realistically, this team is banged up still in the wide receiver room. Matthew Golden, who knows if he's playing? Who knows if he's not? Doesn't even matter if he's playing. I don't really know at this point. Jaden Reed doesn't sound like he's going to be back yet. Even if he is, can't imagine he's a full-time starter because he wasn't even before he was injured. So this is Christian Watson's team as far as being a pass catcher. And this is going to be a game where I think Detroit's going to put up points. And the Packers are going to need to too, because if you remember back to week 1, Detroit got pummeled by this Packers team. And I got to imagine they're going to be out for blood on Thanksgiving at home, because if you remember after week 1, we had the conversation of, is Detroit cooked now that Ben Johnson is gone?
Right.
And they are not. They are not cooked, but I got to imagine they're going to look to put up points, which means Christian Watson is going to be involved. And he's the guy who scores that they're going to look to in the red zone. That can score touchdowns. So I like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the total point projection for this game is 49.5 points. When you're playing in Detroit, I think anything can happen when Jared Goff is playing at home against a divisional rival here. Ty, where are you at on Christian Watson this week? I definitely feel like he is more on the cusp of the flex play radar, but I think he's firmly in the flex play radar. But where's your level of confidence?
Level of confidence. I feel like he's kind of Jameson Williams-esque in the sense that it's kind of bust, because he's not a volume guy. He's the downfield guy, and he can, he has been a red zone guy in the past. We've seen that against the Giants, even when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback in Green Bay. Like, Christian Watson has been the red zone guy. So we talked about it. I think it was last week where it was like, you're kind of banking on the one play for Christian Watson. That didn't happen against Minnesota, but you look at 5 catches on 7 targets, and you're like, that could be worse.
When he breaks the big one, it's great.
Yeah. So I struggle with Packers receivers at this point, just because there's no way to tell, like, Romeo Dobbs or Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, when he comes back, that just adds another, piece to the puzzle. So I'm fine throwing him into the flex, but just know it is a relative boom bust, because if he doesn't get the one play, then it's not going to be great.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get stuck like last week where his longest reception was well under 20 yards. I believe his longest
12
reception.
yards.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 yards, I thought was his longest reception last week. I just don't think you're going to get many games like that with Christian Watson, especially like you named, Cameron, in a game against Detroit where this could be one of the highest scoring games of the week when things are said and done here. So, yeah, Christian Watson, I don't mind him as a flex play this week if you want to throw him in. Though you would probably throw him into your wide receiver spot, right? Because you don't want to start players in your flex on Thursday to give yourself the most flexibility possible. I digress. Ty, I'll come right back to you. Troy Franklin. I don't want to say this is a bull name because Troy Franklin has been getting the volume. He's been a productive player for the Denver Broncos here. It's always just like a shock to me that's like, okay, yeah, we're talking about someone not named Cortland Sutton in this Denver Broncos wide receiver room. I don't know why that's still a shock to me, but Troy Franklin, your start of the week.
You go back to week 8. Troy Franklin is a top 12 wide receiver in usage,
which is crazy.
It's wild. We talked about it a couple weeks ago as well, where Cortland Sutton has been the X receiver for this Broncos offense. Troy Franklin has kind of emerged out of the rest of the better route runner, most reliable hands, all of those kind of things. And you're kind of seeing that at this point where Bo Nix is looking Troy Franklin's way, because Cortland Sutton is not, again, a route runner. He's not a separator. Troy Franklin can do the best at that. So I'm going to ride the hot hand here. Yes, we're coming off the bye week. We talked about it with RJ Harvey. So is there a Sean Payton curveball here that like, hey, Evan Ingram actually becomes like
right.
Like that's a reality because it is Sean Payton.
Hi, Pat Bryant.
Right. Hey, man. I'm not going to be disappointed if it's Pat Bryant.
No, my best ball shares would be happy.
I'm just going to keep going with the usage here. He at 4 of his last 5 games, again, before the bye, he was wide receiver 25 or better in half PPR. So chase the volume. We talked about the Washington defense. It's one to target. This one's pretty straightforward for me.
Yeah, you think there's room, Cameron, for both RJ Harvey and Troy Franklin to find themselves like both top 25 at their position, since you threw out the top 25 mark. Ty, I'll just include that for the barometer for both RJ Harvey and Troy Franklin here.
Yeah, I think so. I think we could even see, Cortland Sutton find top 25. I think this team's going to score more than 3 touchdowns. I think that those are the 3 most likely players on this team to score touchdowns, right? I think that's where it's coming from. Troy Franklin, since Ty said week 18, he's the wide receiver 15. Cortland Sutton's the wide receiver 40, right? It's been a big disparity. Yeah. Volume, he's got 10 more targets in that time frame than Cortland Sutton does. The yards haven't been there except for the Dallas game and then this last week against Kansas City. So that was a little more, a little more excited to see that. He was able to put up 12.4 PPR fantasy points without needing a touchdown. So, yeah, I think he's given you no reason not to have confidence in him. He is the, I got to figure out how low I want to go this. I'm comparing him to George Pickens, but I want to but is it Kmart right now? No, because it's not it's like 3 or 4 steps down, right? I'm not saying he's
we're going it's like 5+ steps down.
5 below 5. Is it Dollar Tree? George,
can we
Pickens,
go Collegiate Campus C store?
Oh, there you
George
go.
Pickens.
Yeah. So right, that's the way he's been outperforming the wide receiver 1 on his team. I think he probably keeps it up because they use him in a better way. I'm in no way saying he's George Pickens right now. I'm just saying that was the first thing that came in my head.
College.
I want to make sure that that I'm not calling him George Pickens. That's all I'm worried about now.
Oh man, the look on Ty's face after that was just like, what the?
All right, I'm sorry.
We've gotten to the point in the season where
I'm done
George
talking.
Pickens and Troy Franklin are in the same sentence, intentional or unintentional.
Hey, they probably were in the same sentence before the start of the season too. So I mean, it's just we're coming back full circle.
No, no, they really weren't. It's fine though. It's fine.
here I am once again needing to transition us to my start. Michael Wilson, obviously, pay attention to Marvin Harrison Jr. status for this week. The update, what I have to work with here, the update that Jonathan Gannon gave on Monday, in my opinion, was just riddled with bad vibes. Quote, when he's physically and mentally ready to play, he'll play. Like, how about just a simple, like, yeah, we want to see how he looks in practice this week. Why can't we at least get that? Because then I at least know Marv is going to be practicing this week. That means, hey, he's probably going to end up playing. And like, what am I supposed to do with what you just gave me? So even if Marv returns, like, let's stay optimistic here. I don't know how you don't keep throwing the ball in Michael Wilson's direction, though. He's catching 75% of the passes thrown his way the last 2 weeks. The dude he has given you flex value alone on receptions. He had 10 plus receptions in both of his last 2 games. You like the matchup with Tampa Bay, obviously. 44 points per game allowed to wide receivers over the last month, which is the most by a solid margin. So if Marv's out, though, we're talking about a potential third straight week of a top 10 finish for Michael Wilson here. So, at this point, just put Michael Wilson in your flex spot for sure. Because again, even if Marv's back, like I still think we could look at like a 6 reception, 60-yard day for Michael Wilson on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say that I actually think he's a start even if Marv's back, because I don't think we get Marv back with, the updates we've been given that Marv is 100% already. And they obviously have a connection.
Mentally or physically, sorry.
Both. But yeah, Michael Wilson and Jacoby Brissett obviously have a connection. I mean, you don't get 33 targets in 2 games, 25 receptions in 2 games, unless you've got something figured out. So I'm willing to bet on that, especially like you said, in a plus matchup, whether Marv's in the lineup or not.
Yeah, I mean, if they're just going to let Jacoby keep slinging it around the yard like this, at some point, Trey McBride, Marv, and Michael Wilson are all going to get fed in some capacity. I mean, reports have already been coming out today where if once Marv does return, is Michael Wilson going to have an increased role? And again, the quotes, yeah, we're going to throw the ball to a guy who keeps making plays for us. So, Ty, it seems like Michael Wilson has started to earn more keep in this offense.
Probably, which is so wild to me that you're going to have Marv play the X, Michael Wilson will play the Z, when Michael Wilson is actually a really underrated receiver, can actually play the X spot as well. But you refuse.
Yeah, you can start moving Marv around a little bit more then. I don't know.
Maybe, but guess what?
He only is a goal ball receiver. That's all he did in college.
Is he though?
It's all. Kai, we cannot use him across the field. Just ask AJ Brown. It's just go routes.
And then just when they think you're going to go on a 9 route, just hit him with a hook route. Just hit him with a little come back to the quarterback.
Around. Oh my gosh, but beautiful,
deadly. Yeah, I'm okay fire up Michael Wilson. I think right now he's firmly like wide receiver 2 territory as long as Marv is out. If Marv comes back, I'm okay throwing him into the flex, but just know that like the bottom may fall out just because it's Arizona. That's the only explanation I can give it.
Yeah. I do think you run a risk there potentially, but again, with what I have on Tuesday, November 25th at 5:28 p.m. Central Time, it's just bad vibes for me around Marv, man. And if he doesn't suit out, Michael Wilson is like the clearest. Yes, you got to get him in no matter what play this week. Wide receiver sits this week. Cameron, I won't criticize you too much. I think this is just such a layup this week in sitting Jordan Addison.
Yeah, this is...
and he does it with no shame. He's sitting there. Yep, I know.
Yeah,
I know what I've done.
It was an easy one. I don't care who's starting. The Seahawks defense has been red hot against wide receivers lately. In the last 5 games, they allowed 116 receiving yards to the Texans. This is to the team, not just one wide receiver. 116 yards to the Texans, 84 to the Commanders, 67 to the Cardinals. They held the Rams wide receivers to 93 yards. Devontae Adams' stat line in that game was 8 targets, 1 reception, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. And then they held the Titans. Actually, Titans played pretty good. 123 yards.
Shout out Cam Ward.
123 yards. Best of everybody on the team, but their leading receiver was or had 44 receiving yards. So like it's not like
whoa. put some respect on Chimere DK's name. Would you
Was it
please?
Chimere DK?
Come on, man. Let's go.
I'm sorry. But yeah, it hasn't been pretty for anybody. And the Vikings, as far as pass offense goes, are right there with the Vegas and I would say the Browns, but I mean that's 77-yard.
We might as well. Hey, shout out Shador. I mean, we might as well be if it was Dylan Gabriel still.
Yes. So yeah, it's not good. And not good vibes, Minnesota, and a tough defense to play, especially on the road.
Yeah, especially on the road this time of the year. Ty, anything you even want to chime in with on Jordan Addison, or should we just pivot to you?
No.
No, we'll go ahead. We'll talk about maybe a more fun, a more thought-provoking name
Against
to talk about.
All odds.
DK Metcalf, Pittsburgh Steelers gets the Buffalo Bills, as we talked about with Jaylen Warren earlier. Ty, you're saying he can hit the pine?
Yeah.
I
kind of have like
a analogy you want to use.
I kind of have like this Thanos like quote in my head with DK Metcalf. It's like it's like an end game. I'm gonna nerd out. It's like you did all that and where'd you bring it, or where'd you bring you like right back to me? That's kind of how I view DK Metcalf with Arthur Smith, because we know that this is usually how it goes with receivers, and now here we are. We're right back where we always end up. The most receiving yards that DK Metcalf has had since week 7, 55. The most receptions he's had since week 7, 5. How many touchdowns in that stretch? Uno. 1.
Last week, wasn't it?
And it was a rushing touchdown.
No. Yeah. No, oh, okay. So one receiving touchdown. He has
one receiving, one rushing touchdown. Yes. So it's simple math. Okay. Are we getting volume? No, that's strike 1. Are you making some big plays with the catches that you're getting? No, that's strike 2. Are you finding the end zone on any of your catches? Not really. Okay. We have to design a rush for you to get into the end zone. So strike 3. Okay. Buffalo is allowing the fewest points or fewest passing yards per game to opponents this year, the 7th fewest the last month. This is just, I have no more interest. This is everything that could have gone wrong. This is the downside that we talked about with DK Metcalf at the beginning of the year in the flesh at this point. You can find better options than DK this week.
Credit to Arthur Smith, though. It's easy to crap on him. That was fun little design play there for DK Metcalf to get in the end zone.
But then he goes right back and tries to get Kenny Gainwell involved in this offense. So.
Fake little tush push, 55 yards. It's a nice play design. I'm going to give the guy some credit where credit's deserved there. For fantasy managers, no, you're 100% right. Ty, you and I talked about this on our rest of season wide receiver ranking show. Is DK Metcalf getting anything downfield? No. Is he taking his behind the line of scrimmage screen catch for a touchdown? If the answer is no, then it's tough to figure out what the pattern is here for DK Metcalf. And I'm just, I don't know. Cameron, maybe you can speak into if they are playing from behind, maybe he gets involved, but the usage here is just like, there's no consistency here for DK Metcalf other than if he can take a screen for a touchdown, that's what you're hoping for, basically.
Yeah, I think if we get Mason Rudolph again, especially, this is like peak Arthur Smith Falcons with Desmond Ridder, Drake London, except DK's not as good as Drake London was. Like, that's where we're at right now, and that wasn't fun, so this is going to be worse. Not something I want. We're probably in store for like a 75-yard tight end screen to Johnny Smith this week or something like that. You know, that's just the way it happens in Pittsburgh. I just have no interest in it. And of course, the last time I said that, he broke off an 85-yard touchdown against the Vikings. So I probably should keep my mouth shut, because every time I speak bad at DK, he actually has a big play. But yeah, it has not been pretty lately.
Well, Ricky Pearsall, we'll just move on, is my sit of the week here. 2 and 4 targets in his 2 games since returning from injury. If you are a very, very good analyst, then you would probably say that Ricky Pearsall, hey, Lucas, look, he's either going to draw 6 or 8 targets this next week, depending on how you want to do the math here. Jokes aside on that, this Browns defense has just been so good against wide receivers, man. Only 3 teams this year have beaten the Browns for more than 125 collective wide receiver yards. They've allowed the second fewest yards, targets, and receptions to the position this year. So really no interest in anyone not named Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle on the 49ers offense this week.
Yeah, it's been a bummer. I needed a legacy game for Ricky Pearsall this last week to get my dynasty team that's supposed to be in the middle of a rebuild in playoff position. The team that had no business being there. And Ricky proved why we had no business being there because he dropped 2 catches for 6 yards. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's you can't trust him. He's one of those guys at this point coming back from the injury. We talked about this when he got hurt too. This was a similar injury to what DK Metcalf had last season, right? We've seen guys like this. Kyle Pitts had it a couple of years ago where it just PCL, MCL, both of them. If you're trying to come back in the middle of the year, it just takes time. And usually these guys aren't back to 100%. So yeah, I'm leaving Ricky on my bench until we get an explosion game. And I'm definitely not going to start him in a bad matchup against Cleveland.
Yeah. Ty, anything you even want to pile on there?
Nah, just wait for the big plays to hit, and then maybe we'll consider him. But until then, he should just stay on your bench.
Yeah, until you have a reason to actually get up on the board and ride the wave. I would probably just be avoiding Ricky Pearsall wherever I can. Before we move on to the tail end of the show here, quarterback and tight end streamers. First and foremost, we want to make sure you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends and family celebrating the holidays. Enjoy some football. Enjoy some good food. Eat plenty, enjoy the day. But we also want to remind you, we'll be going live on Sunday still to answer all of your start-sit questions leading up to the Week 13 slate. 4 games will have already been played by then, so we understand there might not be as many decisions to iron out still, but we'd still love to have you join us on Sunday here on YouTube. So again, hit that subscribe button, turn that what did I just say? Subscribe button. I can spit it out. Turn on the notification bell as well. So you'll be alerted right away when we go live, along with all of our other content as well. Cam, look, I'm not defending Trevor Lawrence in any capacity, but he's quarterback 13 this year and gets a good matchup with the Titans.
Yeah, he's funny because he really is becoming the how long are we going to allow people to keep saying, well, we just got to see if he can develop into, you got to see if we can develop into kind of a guy. Because it's year 5 and he's getting paid $50 million a year. So, but at the same time, he is quarterback 11 over the last 4 weeks in points per game. He's averaging more points per game than, so this is since week 9, than Drake May, than Daniel Jones, than Justin Herbert, than Baker Mayfield, than Patrick Mahomes, than Lamar Jackson. Right? He's playing well, and
in fantasy,
in fantasy, and other quarterbacks are not playing quite as well. And then he gets Tennessee this week, who's getting gashed. And so they're scoring touchdowns, and it's ugly and it's gross. He had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks last week. And that's kind of the Trevor Lawrence experience. He's turning into semi Jameis Winston out there, just kind of chucking the ball around. He's not nearly as fun. Not from an excitement.
He's nowhere near as fun. What?
Not from an excitement aspect.
I'm not letting that fly. I'm not letting that fly.
From a decision-making aspect, from a putting up yards aspect, like whatever.
I'll just let Ty get it. You're trying to talk yourself out of a hole. I agree with you. I think Trevor Lawrence is a good streaming option this week.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been quarterback 5, 13, 14, 12, 21 against Houston, 11 and 7 the last 6 weeks. So 7 weeks. So I mean, he's been pretty good.
He's been fantasy relevant. You can play Trevor Lawrence in fantasy football, even though it doesn't look good on the real
NFL.
Watch
the game.
Just Ty, what were all your faces for? I had to know. Cam was in the middle of that. You're sitting at your computer like in absolute disbelief.
So first, it's the Jameis Winston thing. That was egregious. That was. I can't even believe that you even went there. He's a
non-exciting Jameis Winston.
He hasn't had more than 20 completions in each of his last 3 games. This man's not throwing the ball around the yard. He's just banking on rushing production. That's all that he's doing right now. His big game was against Vegas. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. His Week 11 game was salvaged.
Pre-Bruce Arians. He hasn't had Bruce
with
Arians.
Dirk Cutter? No. No, that was when we had the 30 and 30 year.
No, that was Bruce
No.
Arians' first year, wasn't it?
I don't care. That's not
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
Okay. Look, 2 rushing touchdowns against Vegas. It gave him a quarterback 12 finish, 22 points. Week 10 against Houston, not great. 10 points. No rushing production. He had 2 fumbles, so it wasn't great. Week 11 against the Chargers, salvaged by a rushing touchdown. That was 16 fantasy points. So yeah, quarterback 11 sounds great, but that was 16 points. Then last week, he had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. So yeah, that helped him. It's peaks and valleys here with Trevor Lawrence. The matchup is there. Sure, you can get away with it. But when I have all teams playing this week, man,
He's averaging more. Did you not hear the quarterbacks I listed off, Ty? Drake
If
May,
he's giving you the rushing production,
Daniel Jones,
you can't take that from the man.
Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy. I know, surprisingly, Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. Like,
I just,
I get both sides of this.
better.
I get both sides of this.
don't watch the game. Don't watch the game.
To be fair,
Don't watch the game. That's what I.
You were watching
You don't
Jacksonville
watch the
anyways,
game.
so just don't watch.
we'll move on to you two. Normally we just fly through these. Somehow we managed to take a solid 4 minutes on Trevor Lawrence. Ty, Sam Darnold against the Vikings at home.
Yeah, I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul must see TV.
Must-see TV.
Okay, Sam Darnold revenge week. I don't need to say anymore. It's going to be must see TV. They're going to let Sam Darnold rip it in this one. So fire up Sam Darnold if you need a streamer.
Is that the second week in a row you've made
Correct. That quote, that reference, it fits so many arguments that you can have for fantasy football. It's perfect.
Add it to the drops.
I've got 2 words. That is a good one. We should throw that one in there. Look, at the time of this recording, Jacoby Brissett is still rostered in less than 50% of leagues. I get we're recording this before waivers have run Tuesday night. I get it. There's time for this to totally change. But if Jacoby Brissett is still rostered in less than 50% of leagues, come Wednesday morning, by the time you're likely watching this video, then I have zero clue what we're doing here. Jacoby Brissett has now started 6 consecutive games for the Cardinals, and he is the quarterback 6 overall and in points per game. The quarterback 6. All right. Obviously, you love the matchup with Tampa. Again, 28 points per game to quarterbacks over the last month, 44 points per game to wide receivers over the last month. But if the Cardinals are just going to let Jacoby Brissett sling it around the yard as much as he wants, the matchup might not make a difference whether he does good or not. The reality might just be that Jacoby Brissett, as long as he's Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback, you fire him up, they're just going to let him throw the ball like this. So, no, I love Jacoby Brissett this week. Zero reason why he should still be on waivers. Oh, my goodness, Lucas, get it out. No reason he should still be on waivers. He should be starting in literally every platform that is out there, in my opinion.
Yeah. You know who you kind of reminds me of?
Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston.
Hold on, I was muted. Yes, that makes more sense than Trevor Lawrence. Thank you for thank you. You redeemed yourself with that one.
Oh, that was too perfect. Let's wrap it up with tight ends here. Cam, I'll come to you. Theo Johnson against the New England Patriots.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's Jameis or Jackson Dart. This team's just been airing the ball out. I'm willing to take a flyer on Theo Johnson. The Patriots are actually giving up a decent amount of yards to the tight end position, the 6th most in the NFL in the season. So you can't run against them. So they're going to throw. I think they were going to throw anyways. Didn't matter who the quarterback was. I think Mike Kafka's just at this point like, yeah, let's just see what happens if we throw the ball a ton. And they don't really have wide receivers. So that leaves Theo Johnson. And I'm going to take that chance. I call my shot here. I like that 1.85 multiplier on a touchdown this week.
Good one. It's a good one.
Sprinkle.
I don't mind that. Patriots top 10 in points allowed to tight ends this year as well. Ty, second week in a row, running it back, Brenton Strange.
Heck yeah, man. Until the world realizes that Brenton Strange is actually a really viable option, I'm gonna keep shouting it from the rooftops. Brenton Strange feasts in the middle parts of the field. 64% of his receptions, 55% of his yards have come from the middle of the field. So the Tennessee matchup doesn't look great on paper because teams just don't really need to involve their tight ends against the Titans. how do I say this? Jacksonville likes to get Brenton Strange involved, which is interesting when you have Brian Thomas Jr. You just traded for Jacoby Myers, but Brenton Strange is going to be a piece of this offense, and Tennessee plays with the middle of the field open at the 5th highest rate. That's where, again, Brenton Strange lives. So, yeah, fire him up.
Yeah, catching 25 at 29 targets this year will also probably just give you a very solid base as well. Very high catch rate.
Can I just say he feels like Cade Otton?
I'm about to leave.
No. He feels like Cade Otton last season when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were out.
Sure.
You remember when he had that little?
Sure. I'll let that ride. Fine.
There you go, Ty. I'm trying to give the people confidence.
How many Bucks connections can Cameron make by the end of the show? And we've only got one more player. It's Juwan Johnson.
Feels like a young collegiate Dallas Clark, if you ask me.
Juwan Johnson against the Miami. Ty's doing the math in his head. Coming out of the bye, 6 for 46 against the Falcons with Tyler Shuck at the helm. Ain't too shabby if you're Juwan Johnson. Now you get a Miami defense. Top 4 in points per game allowed to the position both on the season and within the last month as well. I'm good just slotting him in here as a safety blanket. I looked before the show. It was only rostered in 40% of leagues, but then that like shot up to like 50% of ESPN leagues, 60% of Yahoo leagues as well. So not as widely available as some of the other names we have brought up here, but Juwan Johnson's still a guy that I am like very interested in if he's floating out on your waiver wire and you need someone to plug in this week.
Yeah.
That's how we feel about Juwan Johnson. We'll put a pin in it.
He's a saint.
He's a saint. There's always one player on an ugly offense week in and week out. See the John Mechie of tight ends.
Ooh, maybe.
Ty's so done. He's so. We're just trying to have fun before the holiday, Ty.
Jeez, man, I'm losing brain cells. I'm trying to survive the holidays, not try to limp my way into them. Jeez.
Ty, we're just getting in the holidays.
It's Dominic the Donkey.
I had to cut it. I cut it before 7. We're not gonna get strike. We're not gonna get it. But I just wanted to get you out of your Grinch mood. I'm ready for the holidays.
Priming the pump for the holidays, and we will be full holiday spirit when we come back. I don't know what that looks like on a fantasy football podcast, but come the holiday season, this show takes a turn. In what direction, I don't know how. You'll have to stick around and find out. At this point, you've definitely quit listening. But if you are a loyal listener at this point, thanks for being here. You can follow our other socials as well. FF Fellows over on Twitter, the FF Fellows over on Instagram, Fantasy Football Fellows on Facebook and TikTok. I also get it, though, if you're a YouTube person through and through. We're over on YouTube, too. Fantasy Football Fellas Shorts, exclusive content that is not just like recut up clips of the podcast. It's all very different exclusive content for you all over there. So make sure you follow our other channels and even our personal socials as well if you want a bit of extra content. I'm at Lucas Wenzel on X, Camlaw FFF for Cameron, Tyler_Plath for Ty. Again, we hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving celebrating with your family and friends. Eat plenty of food. Enjoy the football that will be played on Thursday and Black Friday as well. We'll be back at the start of next week to bring you all some rest of season rankings. Enjoy the holiday weekend, y'all. Deuces.
Deuces.